Why do so many Christians seem to neglect this commandment? This is Exodus 20, verse 8. It says, "Remember to observe the Sabbath day by keeping it holy." So, first we start off. What is the Sabbath? The Sabbath is a day of intermission, a day of rest, to particularly give it to God, to just focus on Him. It is the fifth commandment from God, given to the Israelites at the time. So the way I come upon this thought is I was going through Numbers 28, 9, and 10, and it was talking about the Sabbath offerings that the Israelites had to do daily to, well, just the offerings in general. But then I was reading about the Sabbath offerings, and I was just like, why do we seem to not follow this completely? So it started this chain of thought processing. Like, why does it seem like so many people just completely neglect one of these 10 commandments and just not seem to really follow it full-heartedly? So I did some research, and I searched for some other perspectives, and it says some Christians believe that it was not a commandment for current day Christians, but a promise that we were invited to enjoy. And that's slightly out of what I feel like we could say, because we can't just take certain verses and be like, yeah, we don't have to follow that, but we could follow that. So some also say that it was just a law for the Israelites to follow, which I don't necessarily agree with, because it's hard, because we need to not choose to pick and choose what we agree with and what we don't agree with. So we have to also watch out for that, where we're not picking what we want to follow. So I guess the next question is, I kind of researched, did Jesus follow the Sabbath? Because if Jesus did it, we should do it. In doing so, I also realized God Himself, in the making of creation, He rested. So if God did it, we should probably also do it. But it was just kind of something that I thought about. So I kind of researched what was verses talking about Jesus following the Sabbath. So Mark 2, verse 23 to 28 says, "One Sabbath day, as Jesus was walking through some grain fields, His disciples began breaking off heads of grain to eat. But the Pharisees said to Jesus, 'Look, why are you breaking the law by harvesting grain on the Sabbath?' Jesus said to them, 'Haven't you ever read in the Scriptures what David did when he and his companions were hungry? He went into the house of God during the days where Abiathar was high priest, and broke the law by eating sacred loaves of bread that only the priests are allowed to eat. He also gave some to His companions.' Then Jesus said to them, 'The Sabbath was made to meet the needs of people, and not people to meet the requirements of the Sabbath. So the Son of Man is Lord, even over the Sabbath.'" So let me say that last part again, because I feel like I kind of messed it up. So it says, "And then Jesus said to them, 'The Sabbath was made to meet the needs of people, and not people meet the requirements of the Sabbath.'" So I feel like that's something really important, because at the time, Jesus was trying to get the Pharisees to understand it's not about really over-obsessing and trying to make sure you're not doing any of this work, just taking God's gift that He gives us, which is the day of rest and the day to just give to Him. We're really relying on Him in faith, because we're not working on that day, and we're not working out of fear of wealth, if we're gonna be able to survive off the money we have, and also we're just having faith to just give it to Him and just follow Him. And the body needs rest and the mind needs rest, and that's that day that He's given to us, because He knows we need it. And He's saying not that we need to over obsess and try and meet the needs of it, but it's for the people. So he really clarifies what the Sabbath is for us. So he's not necessarily following it per se, but he's also not denying it. He's saying that it is something that is really helpful and that you probably should do. But yeah, so that's just kind of the clarified view of, so Jesus followed the Sabbath, and it's not for the requirements of the Sabbath for people to meet that. It's for the needs and the rest of the people in a day where we can just follow God. So, with this view of what the Sabbath really is, which is the day of rest, the day to just give to God what is to God and to grow your relationship, grow closer with Him. And it just seems like so many Christians just completely neglect this because they don't agree with it, or it's not something that they follow, but it is in the Ten Commandments. And I feel like that's a good outline for our lives. It's not necessarily the only things we need to follow, because we need to follow Jesus. We need to really understand what He did for us, but we need to outline our lives in the way of the Ten Commandments. And I think it's really important that we should try and follow these things. So trying not to work on Sundays and not picking up that shift and just like giving it to God would be, I think, super beneficial spiritually, because God gives blessings to those who just give things up for Him. Even if it seems pointless at the time, like, oh, I have all this extra time after church, but you just take that extra day because of Him, He will bless you and He will give you fruit because of that. So with this clarified view of the Sabbath day of the Lord, would you choose to follow this commandment wholeheartedly and not just neglect it like so many others do? If you like this video, please like and subscribe and share the video with someone to, just help them learn about what the Sabbath really is and that they should follow it, and for their own benefit and for their relationship with God. I'll see you in the next one.